Hi everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the founder of TravelSisters. We're a female-only travel community and usually we'd empower you to travel safely together by using our app. But lockdown kind of sucks. So here's our special coronavirus travel interview series. I'll be interviewing some interesting and fun travel sisters from our community living across the whole world. And if you want to join and have a travel chat with me as well, then make sure to join our group and let us know. Hi Margaret, thank you so much for joining me on this call. How about you start introducing yourself? Where are you in lockdown? How's the situation?
My name is Margaret Miller. I am a 27-year-old American traveler, and I am currently in lockdown in Czech Republic. So we've been here, flew out of Asia. We've been in lockdown since they declared a state of emergency, which is on March 12th. And everybody has been taking it very seriously. School's been extended to be canceled until at least May 11th. I want to say. Okay. And we are staying with my partner Ladi's family.
Well, since I've seen your channel, obviously that you have quite a little bit of space and greenery around, right?
Yes, so our home is a camper van, so we are normally out and venturing about Europe as much as we can, but since we've been in lockdown, it's been advised that we park up the van and stay still with family. Ladi's family is very remote in a tiny village in the outskirts of Czech Republic. So we are surrounded by cornfields, which I never thought would be beneficial, but we've been adjusting to it fine. And yeah, Czech's been doing pretty well with contaminating. They were one of the first European kind of countries to really shut down after word came out of Italy. So we've been on lockdown for well over a month now.
Okay, wow. And I put on this t-shirt extra for our little chat.
I love it.
How's she doing? How's Millie doing?
Oh, Millie's good. She's around here somewhere. She has probably had the hardest time adjusting to being in a home because she loves climbing and she's been just all over the place, climbing on top of the kitchen and into these cabinets, and it's quite funny to watch. But she's doing really well. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started with the other questions then. What are your top 3 things to do or see in your area?
Well, because we are in the outskirts, so I'm in a tiny village called Verovany, with the nearest big city being called Olomouc. So this is kind of like Moravia area. Lots of things in this kind of our wine region, I want to say. It's big for farming and very, very flat with incredible soil. So lots of gardening. And I wish, how can I say this? It's not as big of like a visiting hotspot. I think that Czech Republic is a very small country and people usually only go and visit Prague. So when I'm talking to anybody about why they should visit Czech, like the first thing I tell them to do is get out of Prague. Like it's very much in the sense of like if someone was coming to America and they only ever went to New York, where it's like there's so much beauty that kind of exists outside of that and a number of national parks. So about an hour and a half, 2 hours from where we are, there is a national park called Bohemian Switzerland or Czech Switzerland. And it is, oh, there she is scratching the chair. And you can drive up and do incredible road trips. Like Czech has very like open-minded when it comes to camping and parking, and so you're able to just do a lot of camping just within the national park. So that's definitely one. In my area, doing a local wine tour, local brewery tour is absolutely fabulous. That can vary a lot depending on the village or the town that you're in, because a lot of times it's in like the basement of like an old lady's shit.
Okay.
So depending on where you're going, you'll find one. Everybody has one. And then it would probably be going and seeing like the process of making slivovička, which is a plum liquor. It's like very notorious in like the Slavic region. And everything is very like quite natural here. So you grow your own plums, make your own liquor. Ladi's family does a lot of like farming and everything else. And I think that follows trend with a lot of the village communities in Czech who grow their own food and kind of make their own products. So as a Westerner, to be able to see that process is really satisfying in Czech. So go to a local brewery or a grandma's kitchen or a national park. And those are what I suggest you do in Czech Republic.
Awesome. Sounds great. I have to admit, I've also only been to Prague. Love it. It's beautiful, but I'll have to go back.
Yeah, it's a stunning city. I understand why people go there. It's not a knock on Prague. It's just the fact that there's so much outside of Prague. And I think Prague also makes it seem like Czech Republic's like very expensive when it's like the cheapest country. Like a beer out here is like 30 cents. And you get some of that, like in the villages, and then you get some of that money back if you return the bottle. So it's very, once you get outside.
How are you sober right now?
Girl, it's a mystery. Czech is the #1 like beer country. I think everybody thinks it's Germany, but it's not. It's Czech. It's their neighbor.
And what are your top 3 favorite places that you've traveled to? And I know it's a really hard question, especially for someone who's so well traveled like you.
Thank you. I would say if we're going to go continent-wise, in Europe, I really fell in love with Meteora in Greece. It is, it kind of looks like Avatar in a lot of ways. It's on mainland Greece. It's 5 hours from Athens, so it is a big trip, but completely worth it. It's like these mega cliff faces with monasteries, like on the top. It looks like a candle on the top of a stick, really. Like really nuts. They used to pull the monks up in nets. Really bonkers. And yeah, it was a big inspiration for like Avatar when they were making all of the floating islands and such. So definitely Meteora and mainland Greece. I would say another is Namibia for me. I love deserts and I love getting out on the sand dunes and learning about all the critters that kind of exist within the desert that you would never know about. And you can do loads of activities there, like sandboarding and four-wheeling and those types of things. And then I would say New Zealand. I'm a sucker for New Zealand for all the obvious reasons, South Island specifically. That's also where I met my partner. It was where I was first exposed to van life. So I am a little bit biased, but I view it as like the perfect little island. So really enjoyed that.
And if money didn't matter, where would you go right after lockdown?
You know, it's gonna sound crazy, but I think I would go home. It's kind of put a big perspective for me as someone who's been traveling for so long, to be so far away from home during this time. I'm sure this is the exact opposite of what everybody else is going to be feeling, but I have that inkling to go back to the States and to hug my dad and like see some friends who, and I think that's what had these types of crises put a lot into perspective about values and time and money. So yeah, I've definitely felt not only that like my ability to travel has been stripped, but your ability to connect with the people you care about has really been hindered. And so I think my first big want after we're able to travel again will be to hug everybody I care about.
I think especially for you as well, since you were saying earlier before we started that you've been traveling for 3 years and constantly on the road. So I think it does make sense as well, even more that for you it's the other way around to just be home.
100%. And that's the thing where it's always you become used to your own lifestyle so much where it becomes your new normal. And so this has definitely been an adjustment for me to get back to what used to be my normal, which was being stagnant. So I kind of forgot how glamorous and how much like fun it could be.
You think it would be hard to readjust back to the van life now, having been in a house back again for so long?
Oh no. That's terrible.
Like, I miss it.
I know. It's definitely been talking about how we can kind of implement a little mini road trip, if not just driving out to the fields behind the house and just propping up there and like turning our gaze to be away from the from the neighborhood. But yeah, I miss it quite a lot.
Then the last question, what is your top travel tip?
Top travel tip for me. So I'm a big tech person. I like drones. I like Fitbits. I just love tech. And so I put a lot of value on like how technology can add to our experiences, especially when we're abroad. I think the biggest thing for me has always been finding apps that will give me kind of insider information on the places that we're visiting. So I used to have apps for almost every country we've been to, like specific, that were like best places or highlights of like Montenegro or like Montenegro trails or anything like that. So my biggest travel tip is always to like download a lot of like mapping apps or travel apps that are pertinent to like where you're visiting to get more information or to get like offline info that you can download. I'd also say getting like a local SIM card that makes like such a huge difference when you're abroad. Switching that out, and that's probably my biggest travel tip is SIM cards and like always finding a way to be connected and get like the most up-to-date information.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, I once was out and about on a hike. It was meant to be a 4-hour hike, so nothing too crazy, but there was no signal, and the app had said it's download it offline, but it was kind of buggy. So I would also add to your tip to really test it and just make sure that it actually works, because I was in the middle of nowhere. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Or should I just go back? I don't know. And there was just no one around whatsoever. So having your maps safe, then good tip. Love it.
I don't know if that one's been used before, but that's what I do all the time. Always looking for apps.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been used before. And well, hopefully maybe you'll like our app at some point as well, once it's bigger and past just the prototype stage. Though I guess since you're traveling with Ladi, I'm not sure, do you meet up with lots of other people on the way as well, or how does it look?
Yeah, definitely. I think what's been so cool about this online community is the ability to kind of reformulate a plan and cross paths with other travelers. Yeah. So it's always fun to see like new travelers on the road and swap stories.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this conversation. It's been super interesting. And I hope you enjoy being in a house, at least for a little while longer, and then have a good trip back to the US as well.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the interview.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, sorry. You got a kitten.
Hello, sweetie.
Her face probably looks backwards. Go on, live your life. So that with my butt in my face, that's about it.